Hello, everyone. This is Marita, one who catches lightning, with the Path of Ish podcast, Walking with Our Shadow, where we share ancient indigenous teachings of remembrance, all so we can walk and learn how to walk a path of radical self-love. Hello, everyone. It's Marita, one who catches lightning, with the Path of Ish, here again now, settling into this opportunity to be with you here again as we come together, people from all around the world, all walks of life, different ways of even speaking the same language, ways of history and culture, that which we hold dear and sacred, and the stories that follow us into the circle. Now, over the weeks, you have seen how many times we present topics, and these topics are expressed in words, and these words have definitions, whether they are the understood popular definition that has been written down in a book, or definitions that have been set by stories and societies. And we try to stay curious. We stay curious because there is an understanding here that we are all students, no matter if you have taught things or are considered even a wisdom keeper. We are all students of life. And so we try to stay open and flexible and full of curiosity that can lead us to wonder, so that we do not slip into being someone of righteousness, being something set in stone, and being the keepers or gatekeepers of ways of being. So even as I present these topics to you, keep in mind to keep limber. This is just one way, and this one way is being discussed at a certain time and place, and is influenced and defined by the environment and the teachings of where I'm at in the moment. For me, tradition is not a stagnant way. The way I was taught tradition was that tradition was something that was a creative force in motion, where people came to this weaving of this tapestry of handing knowledge down, ways of being, and added to it based on their experience. Therefore, asking questions, being open was so important, staying curious. There was never one way, not one way to celebrate things, not one way to pray or to express yourself, not one way to brew a tonic, not one way to do a bath, not one way to think. And I set this before you now so that throughout these discussions and throughout these times, to welcome your curiosity, to welcome your agreement or disagreement, to not let things be set in stone. even epiphany moments. So many times when we have moments of epiphany, we put them into this magical place, like a light bulb, like a magic ball, and we look at them as they lit up our world, and we go back to them many times for inspiration. But so many times we hold them, we keep them in a time and place and don't allow that epiphany, that reaction to continue to create a new reaction, a new way. One of the reasons I am bringing this up today is I want to go into a few topics and weave a few things together. We've already talked about tradition. We've already talked about not staying stagnant. We already talked a little bit about righteousness and how we are trying to stay away from this. And I want to define righteousness before we proceed. Righteousness, according to the Oxford Dictionary, is the quality of being morally right or justifiable. Morally right. Now, if we look at morality as defined by different people, it comes up different. Righteousness is not the same as morality. Sometimes righteousness is the quality or state of being morally correct and justifiable, as we just defined, where morality is tied to behavior, is tied to that which connects us to a principle of being. And many times, the way that morality is discussed is through the Judeo-Christian lens. Now, that is not the only lens for morality and righteousness. So the reason that I'm adding all of this to the circle as we continue is this need to be right many times stops us from being curious. Many times it stops us from being in that state of unknowing and feeling uncomfortable because we want something to be easy or to be understood. And we plant a flag on that. So today I want to address all of these things so that you can do a small check-in right now and check in and say, where am I at with righteousness? Do I need to be right in a situation? And what does that mean to you? And start to peel back the layers. Maybe you have to be right because you have to be safe, or you feel that being right means you have to be heard and you come from not being heard. So many times we stand strongly in what we think is the heart of something, yet it is not. So as we continue to weave our curiosity with words, with feelings and emotions that come up with the need to be right, the need to define yourself outside of people, the need to create the other, we have to understand or stay curious that we bring all of that into the circle of how we are trying to understand this and learn. I will give you an example. Many people come to me with questions of the use of medicine, of cacao, of sage, of cedar. They come and ask me, what is right? Other times they ask me, what is the meaning of these spirit animals? Or what's the difference if I have a dream? Is that my spirit animal or my totem or things like that? And my answer many times is it's not that black and white. It is not that simple. It is all based on relationship. That relationship that you have to these topics whether you are knowledgeable or not, will determine how to stay curious and learn how to build relationship with this. One of my favorite classes that I teach is one of sacred tobacco. And the reason I teach about sacred tobacco is because it is truly a sacred plant that for many people not only is an offering back, the reason it is an offering back when you are collecting is because it is an activator. It is the ambassador to all the plants. It is the one that, when lit with fire, takes that smoke up to the heavens. So not only is it an ambassador between humans and the plant people and any other kingdom, but also humans and spirit and the underworld. I do not tell people the right and wrong of tobacco. I present them a possibility of building or rebuilding relationship. And it's just one way. I recently had someone ask me to define what it means in a podcast when they see the spirit animal. And number one, those are usually reserved for one-on-one conversations, which I do have those containers. But more importantly, if we start to go into spirit animals, spirit totems, you'll see many definitions from many people. There is no right or wrong. It is just a way. But this need to be right and this righteousness that comes many times is that it gives people this sense of safety and security. Righteousness is very charging, very empowering for the person who is standing in what they think is the right. Righteousness has justified the killing of people of all types, the segregation of people, the killing of wildlife and trees. Righteousness has this energy of winning, overtaking, being certain in an uncertain world. I mean, there is something about it that if I am living in a chaotic world, which we do, and I am trying to learn and define things and be safe, righteousness might be a way for that. But today I want to introduce a different way of approaching relationship and the levels of relationship, so that when you are asking questions about medicina or jaguars appearing to you or anything like this, you can go back to this and see, where am I in this state of relationship, to start to understand how to build more relationship, not righteousness, but to stay curious. So before we go further along and present to you these different levels of relationship, and this is just one way, of course, why don't we just check in to see how we're landing, as we've brought many definitions and ways of being into the circle. And I want to keep these things on the outer periphery of our circles. And I want you to check in now. Where are you with your relationship to being right and wrong? Where are you in your relationship to justice? Where are you in your relationship to one way? Where are you in your relationship to control? Where are you in your relationship with understanding? Where are you in your relationship with chaos? The reason that we want to check in is we want to see what we are bringing to this circle, and through what eyes or ears we are filtering this plática through. If you are someone who needs to be right and you are asking to be curious, how does that make you feel, and where do you feel it in your body? If you are someone who has the need to hold on to epiphany moments and draw continued energy from that and not letting that epiphany evolve to more, where has that left you? What lens do you continue to live your life? And one last thing I want to add that we all process very differently, and to allow each other the space to process, stay curious, define, redefine, answer, listen, not answer. All is welcome. There is no one right way to be a student of life. Muy bien. Entonces, let's just take 3 breaths right now. In and out through the nose. Welcoming that mind and checking in on it to this time and place. In and out through the nose. Checking in on that body of yours. Where is it storing all of these questions? And bring that into this time and place. In and out through the nose. Checking in with your essence. And seeing how it is tied up or not tied up in these stories. And welcoming it to be in relation to how your body and your mind are reacting or acting, being still, being triggered. Anyway, where you are right now, can you be with yourself? All of yourself. And just find a moment where you can breathe and be with all of you. So in response to the questions that I get, instead of giving you an answer of yes or no, what to do in relationship to medicina like cacao, cambo, ayahuasca, cedar, sage, or how to be, I want to propose to you a path of relationship. This path of relationship is one that has been presented to me all of my life in its own myriad of ways, right? Not just one way of it being presented. And it's a way of earning knowledge and the steps to that. And there is no certifications from where I come from. And so there is nothing that you can hang on a wall. All you can do is talk about your relationship. And so I want to open this up so that you might learn about one way and the levels that relationships show up as you walk this path of knowledge. So the first level of relationship is something that we call stewardship. This is an awareness of something. Because we have this awareness or curiosity, we begin to learn about it. So whether it's an example of seeing repeating numbers, 555, 333, and then being open to stay curious and learn, or if it's awareness of, there's trees exist. There are trees. I'm going to learn about trees. And again, in learning about trees, there's no one way. You can approach it from a scientific standpoint. You can approach it from myths and stories, as well as the weaving in of your story with trees. There's not one above the other in this stewardship. When you step into the study of it, right? First, the curiosity of it. There's a tree. I'd like to get to know about it and start weaving. You step into guardianship. And this is deeper study. This is deeper reflection. This is the ability to not just Google information, but to learn from the beingness itself. In this case, let's continue to use the example of trees. So stewardship to guardianship would mean stewardship, I'm aware of trees, I'm curious about them, I'm going to learn about them. Guardianship is not just the Googling of trees and how they work or reading the tales, but this next level involves coming into close relationship. And relationship, again, many times is observation, based on observation. And when you observe, it's not just the tree alone. It is the tree in relation to its environment. And so stewardship to guardianship goes from a singular way or a singular thing to more of a macro, expanding that lens of beingness. This tree in relationship to its limbs, in relationship to its animals, in relationship to the fungi, in relationship to where it's planted in the soil that it is planted in relationship to how it's planted and the wind moves it. All of that is each telling its own story of being in relationship with this tree, or the tree being in relationship with it. Having that knowledge, not just observed, but shared to you by this tree, this being, is that stepping into guardianship. And depending what system you are studying in, it might look a different way. It might involve different time frames. It does involve tests. So you can be tested to make sure that if you do not know it, you take more time getting to know this tree, right? Testing here is not, oh, you're wrong, go back to the line, or anything, or you're bad. It's like, have you not learned this? Very well. Why don't you take the time to go a little bit deeper, to explore a little bit more? And even when you know, quote unquote, know, you are still staying open. And then you are allowed what is called a carriership of knowledge. That is the next relationship. This is where you come to enough of an understanding of treeship or treedom that you share it with others. You can sometimes then take on a role of teaching in some systems. It is at this level of carriership that if in some systems you are asked to teach and given permission to teach, teaching is not something to be taken lightly. In many of the systems I come from, you take on the responsibility of your students' karma if you do not teach in a good way. This is not controlling them. This is making sure that you are always checking in and not letting your agenda get in the way, your need to be right or righteous, getting in the way of passing on knowledge, and to the best of your ability to teach in a good way so that people might be in good relationship. Now, whenever I've been allowed to teach and given the permission to teach things or share things, the expectation is that through teaching, you continue to expand your knowledge. You continue to stay curious and to listen and to ask questions. And you learn not just from your teachers and the beings and relationships, but from your students as well. There is here no quote unquote hierarchy or, como se dice, there is truly true humility, no greater or lesser than any being. But yes, you are responsible for carrying this knowledge in a good way. And depending what tradition you come from and how your system works of sharing this knowledge, there might be many rules, or there might not. There's no one way. What we are seeing today across the world is that many things are no longer, as they say in Hawaii, kapu, forbidden to teach. We have talked about how the medicine people, the ancestors, the elders are very much focused on getting this knowledge out to the people. And so you see many people trying to do this in the capacity that they have. coming from the knowledge of building relationship that they have, or the relationship to information. So just keep that in mind. The next step and the possibility of relationship here is someone becoming a bearer. This is a place of earning, a bearer of knowledge. That means they have continued to deepen their relationship with the tree kingdom, with all of the relationships of trees. They have been able to help someone with their curiosity at the stewardship stage, at the curiosity of their guardianship stage, and mentored them and walked with them and witnessed them, been responsible as they become a carrier of knowledge. And as this continues and the testing continues, in this example I'm giving, then there's an opportunity to step into a form of mastery. And this means you are then teaching people and witnessing and mentoring them all through the level of bearership, and helping them and sponsoring them and witnessing, depending, again, this is just one way. Many people have different traditions around this. But as you can see, this way of being has really no room for an end line, an end goal. Even mastery does not mean you are all-knowing. There's no frozen certificate on a wall, no moment of inspiration to hold on to, because we understand that relationships are forever changing, just as we are forever changing. And we hope that relationships change us. To be in relationship is not to be in righteousness. It is to be in a forever growing and evolving way of mastering, not defining, but living in relationship with the unknown, knowing you will never know everything. This is an expansive way of stepping into conversations and ways of being that allows you to continue expanding your relationship, not your righteousness. And as I said, because many of what we are talking about and the way that I have been taught from oral traditions, these ways are the ways of the whispering of the wind, never stagnant, always moving and changing as the stories grow and evolve and change, and the ways are passed down. And the ways are passed down not to be stagnant, but to continue evolving, so that the medicines and the relationship to that medicines, whatever that medicine is, it doesn't have to be a root or a tree, it could be a song, has what is necessary for this time and this place. If not, it will be kept stagnant. And if it cannot evolve, it cannot meet up to meet you as you change, evolve, and grow in your relationship to wisdom. And so today, as we enter into this meditation, I want you to bring into the circle a relationship with something that you are wanting to move from just a curiosity stage, not just to mastery, right? This can take years. This can take 30 years. This can take the rest of your life. So there's no timeline on that. But let us first examine and bring into the circle that level of stewardship that you might have with a being, or potentially with a being. and open up that space. Whether you bringing trees or birds or bees, insects, four-legged fish, cacao, ayahuasca, kambo, aya, taro, whatever. Where are you? And remember that it is not about you always gathering the knowledge. It is about you listening and not having your agenda of righteousness be in the way of knowledge. The knowledge is earned because it takes two to create it. Receiving and giving, giving and receiving. That is how you weave wisdom together. So with that, let us start our meditation. Please get in a comfortable space. As you settle into your body, please see if there's anything you just need to shake out at the moment right now. Anything that you have to reset, take a sip of water. See what your needs are. Shake it out if you have to shake it out. And then settle back into your body, into this time, into this place. And let us take our 3 breaths together, in and out through the nose. This first breath, checking in and welcoming our mind into this time and space. In and out through the nose. Checking in and welcoming our body. Make sure it hasn't shut down into this time and space. And if it has shut down, do not judge it. It is doing the best it can. And last but not least, in and out through the nose. Bringing our essence into this time and place. With all 3 parts combined, we humbly approach Mother Earth and ask her for a root. That to which we have earned based on our relationship with her. And thankfully, because we have many in the circle, it is not just what we have earned as individuals, but everyone collectively in the circle. And as Mother Earth gives us that root, we don't know what we need or what is right or wrong. Allow yourself to receive. And it is with that humility, knowing we are no greater or lesser in this time and place, that we ask for sky root from Father, Son. As we have that above and below, we ask the east, the south, the west, and the north, and the guardians in whatever tradition you come from. There is no right or wrong. To open up this circle for us, to step into the curiosity of stewardship, where knowledge and the building of wisdom is through relationship, not through morality, the creation of the other, and righteousness. Can we now lay down the burden of being right? Can we lay down the burden of the knowledge that you have earned or learned? Can you allow yourself the possibility of a different way? Knowing that this way is not one of complete resolution in terms of mastery, but one where as you grow in relationship, you receive and expand into the unknown, always letting go of what you knew before. Free falling. Can we allow ourselves the ability to free fall? And as we let all of that go, that burden of knowledge, can we, with great humility, this does not mean you put yourself below anything or anyone. Yes, be respectful. It is with that, can we ask now that a kingdom step forward for the opportunity of stewardship, an opportunity of relationship, of curiosity. No matter if you think you know everything on Google about trees, can you let that go and start at the beginning? Bring your knowledge with you, but do not hold on to it tightly as mastery. There you go. That should feel different. And with that, with all of the elements present, water, wind, earth, and fire, we ask these elements outside of us, inside of us, and inside of all beings and creatures on this planet to hold us in the space of the unknown, in the space of potential, as we step outside of our burden of being right into the possibility of a new way, wherein learning from other kingdoms is not just about us, and learning from other peoples, we can open our heart and not close our mind to the right way of doing things. And with that, we give gratitude and thanks to the ancestors, all who have held us now. To all who have been here witnessing us, witnessing our prayers to step into a new way. Yeah, that's right. Even the kitty on my lap sighed. And with that, we thank the elements, the guardians of all the directions, the east, the south, the west, and the north, those above, below, and within. As I thank all my teachers who continuously allow me to lay down the burden of knowledge and forever learn and expand in new ways. Allowing the unknown to be a way of medicine. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. With that, we thank Mother Earth, we thank Father Sky and Sun, and send back to them with gratitude our prayer and thanksgiving for holding us. As we return back to our 3 breaths, taking that breath in and out through the nose, thanking our essence for being in this time and space, in and out through the nose. Thanking our body for being in this time and space, in and out through the nose. Thanking our mind for being in this time and space. And with that, we come back, revived and replenished and holding on to nothing but the wind. I hope this week brings you the opportunity to step into a deeper relationship with that which you do not know, not in an attempt to master and be righteous, but in an attempt to forever allow creation to continue creating. Shade. Once again, it is with deepest gratitude that I bow to you for joining me on this podcast, this episode, this circle, this plática, this meditation, this remembering. I hope that you have stayed curious. I hope to see you in the circle again next week. So make sure that you like or follow. Until then, may you be blessed with abundance of peace and radical self-love.